Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to our session, Getting Started with Digital Storytelling, Tips for Creating Educational Videos. My name is Dr. Annie Hale. I'm a Director of Research and Development at Arizona State University, and I create really interesting and compelling courses using cool educational technology tips like we're going to talk about today.
And my name is Dr. Leanna Archambault. I'm an associate professor in the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College at Arizona State University. And I also oversee the Learning Design and Technologies Master's Program. My research area is in teacher preparation for online environments. So this topic is right up my alley, and I'm excited to share our expertise with you today. So one of the powerful tools in online learning is the use of digital storytelling through educational video. Increasingly, we know the use of multimedia rich with visual and auditory elements is becoming more and more widespread in learning environments. While text can sometimes be dull and a little bit static, video can be an engaging way to draw students' interest in and to motivate them to learn. So just think about your average student and how much time they spend on YouTube on a daily basis. YouTube now has over 2 billion users with over 1 billion hours of video content watched. So we know how incredibly popular video is, and it's just creating our own videos for educational purposes that is very important. So doing that is important in an online setting because it can help teachers convey concepts that might be difficult to understand for students, while at the same time cultivating online classroom community.
Leanna, those stats are fascinating. Yeah, so in this session, we're going to showcase how easy it is to make, video content come to life, particularly through a humanities lens. This could be histories, English language arts, but we found this sort of way of creating videos is very compelling for stories that are sustainability issues, things that have a compelling narrative. And in this session, we're going to offer practical tips for using the technology you already have at home, either through things that are sitting on your desk or easily nominal things that you can buy online. And then we're going to give you step-by-step instructions for actually putting together your first video. Before we do that, we just wanted to just briefly describe a little bit of a course that we developed at Arizona State University using digital storytelling. This is actually SOS 294. It's called Sustainability, Science, and Society. It's in the School of Sustainability. It's an 8-week-long class. And in fact, the whole entire class doesn't have a textbook. It has a sequence of videos that Leanna and I put together. The videos are really engaging, documentary style narrative approach to the interesting facts that we're sharing of the different concepts that you would learn in this class. For example, you're looking at an interesting picture here of water pollution and trash and waste collected in a body of water. And what we found is that when it comes to telling stories about sustainability, when you take students to these places, rather than just having them read a text, when you take them on a tour, when you share the interesting things that are happening with this, it forges an emotional connection to the topic that makes the information more relatable, more understandable, more fascinating to the student. We like to leverage the power of digital storytelling, meaning there's a story arc here. There's something going on and we want to share it with you. And we're trying to make complex information more understandable, more relatable. And, through our course, this course and other courses that we've created, we try to take students on a learning journey that's very visual, to places and situations, to explore challenges that they may have never seen. So it's almost like hopping on a plane with us while we take you on this journey. Yeah, can you make digital stories that are not based on humanities topics like sustainability? Sure. We just have found that these, stories driven narratives like history, English language arts, it does work particularly well for this type of content.
Thanks, Annie. And the other reason that we've done this is because we know that the use of educational video and using that storytelling, it has particular pedagogical advantages. So we're able to incorporate real world footage and really communicate this topic with depth. We're able to show students how dire some of the problems that sustainability issues that we face and how dire some of the problems are around the world. So while it might be difficult for them to imagine because they can just go to their kitchen sink and turn on the faucet and they have clean water, we can take them to Africa and some villages where women and children have to walk hours to get well water that may not even be clean access to water. So we can definitely include that real world footage that makes the learning more authentic. We can also connect emotionally with students. So we can really incorporate that notion of them caring about what's going on in the world and using that as a way to motivate students and kind of their values and highlighting those and tapping into that emotional connection to help them care about what they're learning about and help them be engaged and motivated with the content. And then also we can provide a rich stream of information through multiple modalities. So our videos contain audio, they contain text, they contain video. We're able to kind of get at the content through a variety of means. We can show graphs and break those down for students. So we can use all different modalities to help make these difficult concepts easier to understand for students.
So now you're probably thinking, well, let's do this. So great. Let's start talking about how to make a video. We recognize there's lots of tools that you can use to make a video, from iMovie Maker to just the things on your cell phone. In particular, Leanna and I both like ScreencastOMatic. While it's not free, it's nominal for educators. So do check out the website and see if it's right for you. We like it because they've got easy tutorials on how to edit video and add information. You can add sounds and music all within their library. Super easy to use, very user friendly. And if you're following along and trying to take this as like a process, go ahead and make a folder on your desktop called Videos 2021. That's an easy way to find the videos that you'd be creating, and we recommend that. Step 2, in this section, we're going to break down 3 things that are important to consider: content, tone, and style. I'm going to jump in here by talking about content first. And so what we mean by content is, let's identify who the video is for. Is this a welcome video? Is it an explanation video? Are you reviewing a concept? Is it for a small group or the whole entire classroom? So really sit down and brainstorm, think about who the video is for. And do make sure you prep all the things that you need to have before you hit record on your video to reduce what we like to call recording anxiety or confusion. Slides may be out of order, or you may not know what to click on next. So prep everything, be completely ready to record that video. And also think about what you're going to show. Is it some sort of learning management system like Canvas? Is it a PowerPoint? Do you need to have a URL or a YouTube video pulled up? Get all of that out of the way to reduce any confusion. And think about modifying what you might have. You could show just a minute of a YouTube video and maybe not the whole entire thing. So have that YouTube video queued up and ready to go. We won't talk too much about storyboarding and script writing, but you could think of storyboarding as just kind of laying out on maybe Post-it notes what happens first, second, and third throughout the recording of your video. You may even want to write a script in a Word document or paper and pen at your desk that you'll read. And if you do that, you'll probably get rid of the camera view where it shows you on screen. But so get all of that you need to do the content, prep all of your background work before you jump into actually making the video.
And the other element you need to consider is tone. So is your tone casual and informative? Is it supposed to be fun and friendly? Is it more professional in tone? Do you want something a little bit more kind of third person removed? I would say that the tone that we try to strike is very informative, but also engaging and kind of objective. The tone really creates the mood that your viewer is going to feel. So if you come across as unsure or not steady, or if you're bored by the topic, this goes without saying. In the face-to-face classroom, students can sense that. They can also sense it when you're creating an educational video. So you may also want to stand to record your video if you have that capacity and the setup that you create. Because if you think about when we teach and we're up and around the classroom and we're motioning, we're using hand gestures, that engagement, that excitement with your, you that you feel about the topic is going to translate in your video. So just be aware of kind of how that tone translates in terms of the mood that you're setting. The other aspect of this is when teachers first start creating videos, they can kind of look back at some of the early ones and just cringe, and it's hard to watch yourself, and you count every or ah, and you might make a grammatical mistake or say something wrong. These are actually it's not in these mistakes, quote unquote, are actually endearing. They help your students kind of convey your personality and shine through. And so the number one tip here is they don't have to be perfect. So let your personality shine through. You know, the mindset is that if you keep trying to get this perfect, you're going to create a lot of frustration, and your students are looking at kind of wanting you to speak like a human, wanting to get to know you, not a robot per se. So it's great to be yourself. You can be natural. You don't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. None of us are perfect. I think that sets a good example for students. Saul Khan, the founder of Khan Academy, that we are familiar with, he's become well known in educational circles for his videos, and in large part because they're so authentic and we feel like we know him. And I just want to show a short little clip where he's talking about his approach for being natural in videos.
When you get into that headspace, you start scripting everything, you know, down to the word, you will construct something that is accurate and won't, I guess, embarrass you, so to speak, but it will also probably be hard to connect with. I've fallen into that trap many times where I'm like, oh, you know, 1 million people will watch this thing. I've got to get it perfectly. And I over prepare so much that I try to pack in too much information. I get too caught up in what I'm thinking. The real process of problem solving in any domain is oftentimes messy, and it lowers the student's stress level if they say, oh, okay, it's a journey, it's an exploration. And if I could transparently see the thinking of someone who knows the material well, that's invaluable from a student's point of view. So I would just say, be yourself, let your quirkiness shine, and be extemporaneous and vulnerable.
That's a good video, Leanna. So next we want to talk about style. And you know, appearance, setting the stage, lighting, and camera. And as you can see, Leanna and I are not getting the lighting totally perfect here because we're in our houses and it's real life and we both have windows, and you can see a little bit of that appearing here. When it comes to what you're going to wear, it is important to avoid small patterns. You know, keep your colors basic. You know what looks good on you, but predominantly you want to stick to, we believe, reds, blues, teals. All black. I'm wearing black here, but my background is very bright. So there's a nice contrast here. And so you want to think about, you know, what you're wearing versus what's in your background and how those come together. Contrast is key so that you don't look like a floating head. If my background is black and I was wearing my black dress that I'm wearing, I would literally look like I was a floating head right now. And consider adding, yes, makeup and lighting, you know, a little bit of lipstick. Maybe you don't wear it normally, but it'll help you look a little bit more awake and healthy on camera. Set the stage. Select a place to record your videos. It doesn't have to be at your desk, although it could be. Leanna is actually at her, you know, work from home desk. You guys are in a corner of my bedroom that I like to record in right now, that I think looks nice on camera. You know, think about what you want students to see. They're going to get to see a little bit of who you are. You can see a painting that I actually painted in my background, and real books, little objects that my 3-year-old made. So try to think about what you want people to see, how you want to be represented. With the lighting, this is simple. You know, plug in as many lights as you can if you're at home. Bring them close to you so that you've got some bright light on your face. Although I have natural light in my room, and so does Leanna right now, if we were to open up our blinds all the way, you'd barely be able to see us. So be mindful of, you know, where the lighting is and how it actually looks on camera. And you just want to basically have the light be right in front of your face or in a cone around you from shoulder to shoulder. And also, and a really interesting tip is turn up the brightness on your computer all the way. So mine is all the way bright right now. And if I was to turn it down, things would start to get weird. So think about that as well. Now, the camera, you basically want to have it be, this is a third down from the top of your screen. And then you want to have 2/3 down from your end of your frame of the screen. So you can see there's a third here and 2/3 here left. That's about average. It also helps your eyes look naturally at the camera. If you need a little bit of help looking at the camera because you're maybe camera shy, take a Post-it note, cut a hole in it or rip a hole in it and put this right over where your camera is, and that'll help you remember to look in that hole and smile, and that's where your audience is. So you can see this is an actual picture. This is where we're at in my house right now, just shot from a slight different angle. And this is the setup of me recording some videos for some of my undergrads. And so you can see I've got lights. There's lots of lights that you're missing in that shot, but a direct light over the notes, my computer up, I'm wearing camera blue, and that's how it looks when I go about recording. So let's see here. I want to show you a video that I created. This actually walks through the technical details of how to go ahead and make your video in ScreencastOMatic. So let's take a few minutes and watch this video right now. Since you already know what type of video you want to make regarding content, tone, and style, let's get acquainted with ScreencastOMatic and some of the basic features to get you making a video right now. Since you've already downloaded ScreencastOMatic and created a convenient folder to house your videos when you're done called Videos 2020, let's go ahead and launch ScreencastOMatic. I have it down here docked on my dock in my Apple, so all I have to do is double click on that. And you can see that this gray box appears. Ignore this and find the red record button on the top right. Double click on that. And this launches ScreencastOMatic's recording feature. There are 4 things that I want to show you here briefly that you might already know, but let me tell them to you anyway. There are 3 ways of recording your video. It could be just the screen, which would be the screen with no webcam, just the webcam, which would be just you talking with nothing else, or both, which is what you can see that I'm attempting to start here. I've opened up a Canvas class to give you an idea of what recording both looks like. And this is pretty common when you see a screencast that you would share out with your students. The last thing that I want to show you, the 4th thing, is this ribbon, this black and white ribbon here. This is actually showing you what you're going to record and what your students will see versus what's hidden to them and to the viewer of your video. So everything on the outside of this box over here, no one will see in your video. And everything on the inside, everybody will see. Since you already know how you want your video to come together regarding the style, you've already made this decision, so it should be pretty quick for you to just go ahead and click on the type of video that you want to make. Now, right before you hit this red record button, I want you to think about what face you want your video to start with. So after you hit the red record button, there's going to be 3, 2, 1 appear on your screen, and then the words go. And right after the words go, your video is live. So what I typically do is I just put on like kind of a nice, calm, neutral smile. And then after I see the words go, then I jump into my video. Make sure you do the same thing right before you end your video. So end whatever your thought is, pause, and then go ahead and stop your video. So here we go. Hi, my name is Annie Hale and blah, 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 blah. And you would start doing your video and clicking around. When you're done, you would hit the blue pause button. That actually ends your video. And so you'd want to make sure to pause right before you conclude your video because you know you've hit the end of your video and what you needed to share with your students. And you would put your face back in a neutral position and then you would move up and you would hit end the video. There are 3 buttons that I want to show you here. There's the preview what you've just recorded button to decide whether or not you like it and you want to keep it. Chances are you might want to redo it a few times before you get the right take. It usually takes me 3 or 4 times. And in making this video, I think I've done it 5 times. There is also the trash it. So if you hate it, you hit the little trash can and then you just delete and you start over. But if you like it, which I do, I'm going to hit done. And then with no further ado, go ahead and hit save and upload. And you want to actually save as a video file. Do not upload to ScreencastOMatic. Not the end of the world if you do that, but we made a folder called Videos 2020, and that's where I want you to save it. So go ahead and click on that. A new options button will appear. Ignore everything except for the name of your file. So you want to actually click on this and you want to name it. So this is my fall 2020 intro video, and that's perfect. Everything else should look like this. It should be saved in your Videos 2020 folder. If it's not, click on that and go ahead and find the right folder to actually save it. So if you need to toggle around and find that right folder, go ahead and do so. So I want to make sure I'm saving it in Videos 2020. Keep highlight cursor on, MP4, higher, larger file, and then hit the green button. And now your video is being saved. And look at you, you've made a video, and that's it. Not so hard. Thanks so much for joining our presentation. Here are some more resources and references for you to continue to further explore digital storytelling. This link here to online teaching mixtapes is actually a curated resource for educators, worth checking out, highly recommended by Leanna. And lastly, we're ready to discuss and connect with you on this topic.